The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
Deep right, we got extra up there. Let's follow a range on deep right. I'm doing out right on the target right now. I've got a couple of these right in front of me. I'm going out for it. Right, I got him.
Welcome back to the Lead Pursuit podcast. Tonight, we're going to give you our debrief of Historicon 2025, just held up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and, as a bonus, talk about the events at the Pax River Naval Aviation Test Museum. But tonight, I'm joined by Steve, the man who got cold-played out at Historicon. Yes, he was hanging out with someone other than his gaming buddy, Brett, and was playing bolt action. And you know what? It was right there for everyone to see. So, Steve, has your relationship with Brett recovered?
No, I'm actually, it wasn't my fault. I'm 100% suing Historicon for letting everybody see this. And, totally Brett's fault. He could have been there. Totally not my fault at all.
No way was it your fault. Not at all. Not at all. You weren't cheating. Cheater. Awesome. Well, hey, it's good to have you on. It's just going to be the two of us tonight talking about the events, which is good, I guess. That's fine. Let's talk about some upcoming events first, though, because we've got a couple that'll be right around the corner. NashCon in Nashville. Shocking. I realize it. 14 to 17 August. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. There is Blood Red Skies tournament on Saturday. There are Blood Red Skies narrative games going at the same time. So a buddy of ours from over in Knoxville is going to run his midway game. Lots of stuff going on there. There will be a Friday night furball. There will be Friday afternoon aeronautica and Beyond Mig Alley on Sunday morning. But lots of stuff to do. I think there's going to be even another narrative game or two sprinkled in there as well. So lots of Blood Red Skies and a lot of other aerial wargaming things that'll be going on. Some Check Your Six and some other games that are out there. Then moving on towards the end of the fall. Well, I'm not going to be there for either one of these. Fall in 7 to 9 November. Steve, you think you're going to go at least visit and say hi for that one?
Oh, I will definitely be there. I don't know in what capacity, certainly not as like full on Lead Pursuit capacity, right? But I'll definitely be there. Maybe I'll do another Grognard Wally's Basement Challenge with John Russell.
You might need to do that either with John Russell or get Russ Orr, since he'll be running the vendor hall, break him away from that.
Be sure to say hi. We'll play some games, roll some dice. Be a little more chilled out though, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot less work. That same weekend in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Phalanx Con. We're not going to be there. Hopefully there will be some of our minions helping us to run some Blood Red Skies stuff and knock that out. But please go support Phalanx Con if you're in the Tennessee, Kentucky area, and go play some Blood Red Skies. Other than that, send us your events. There's a lot of other things on the schedule. People are texting me actually tonight. And Steve, you've even got another point. What's up?
Yeah, UnionCon, October 10th, 11th, 12th in Maryland. I believe it's unioncon.com or unioncon.org. You can also look up UnionCon on Facebook. Really cool, small convention, all kinds of games. There's going to be some Kill Team. There's going to be some World War I Flames of War. There's going to be some Mordheim. There's going to be World War II Bolt Action, Wings of Glory, Missile Threat. All kinds of games. I would say best thing would be to check UnionCon on Facebook. Look up events on Facebook. It'll pop right up there. And it's going to be a great time. Good group of guys. Small convention. It's cheap to get in. Tons of fun.
Should be a good time, even if it's going to be full of people playing other games other than Blood Red Skies. But that's fine. Some really good dudes are organizing that, so it should be a fun time. What were the dates again, since I was blanking?
I think it's Columbus Day weekend. I believe it's like October 10th, 11th. October 10th, 11th, 12th this year. Yeah,
I think it's the weekend before one of the other events. guys are throwing my way. So we'll see. We'll see what we show up to. Please send us your events if you have things coming up, if you're doing tournaments, if you're doing narrative games, whatever. Send us that. We'll put it on the calendar. We'll talk about it on the podcast. All right. Do you want to say anything about your recently completed U.S. jets of the Vietnam War?
Oh, absolutely. Just a huge thank you to everybody who backed that. To hit the number that it hit was super, just super awesome. And can't thank everybody enough. The first set got released. The second batch of planes, if you did all the stretch goals that got hit, those are all going to release this week. And then those crazy custom planes will be coming out as
Eventually.
Follows.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody. I mean, I'm obviously new at Kickstarter, never did one before. Thanks for sticking with us through the pains of doing the Kickstarter. Definitely not my expertise, but thanks to everybody for really fulfilling that thing and making it a success.
That's awesome. And speaking of Kickstarters, Eagle and Fulcrum Leader just arrived in Australia. So if you're a backer of that game, they are arriving right now. Should be shipped out next week, which would be Monday the 11th, I believe. Those games are going to go out, and then here in the U.S. it should be a couple weeks later for the ships to arrive, DVG to package everything, and to get it out. So that's getting closer to delivery as well. All right, well, let's talk about Historicon. I mean, you could call it Grognard Con, but that'd be no fun and that'd be kind of mean. But Historicon, big picture, what was your takeaway for the second time we've done this as Lead Pursuit?
I really like Historicon. Summer conventions have a different feel to me, kind of, right? They seem a little more kind of chilled out than those fall or winter or spring conventions. I really like the summer convention. I love the venue. And I saw some really, really awesome games this year that I feel like the game masters at Historicon this year just really kind of stepped it up a notch.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I think the thing I love and hate about Historicon is that the game masters are always taking it up a notch. There's always something cool to see. And invariably, I don't see something. You come back from roaming around to some of the games oh, did you see it? I'm like, no, dude, I apparently walked right past it and missed that. So yeah, there's more than you're gonna see easily in the couple of days you're there. And if you're playing something else and miss the one time somebody breaks out some of the cool terrain, but at least some of the returning big terrain boards were there. So the Japanese boards were there. We had the giant from the basically from the ports to the castle samurai and ninja games, all kinds of cool stuff there. There was also a lot of aviation games. I think we saw quite a few different things and some new games, some new aviation stuff we'd never seen.
Yeah, as far as aviation stuff goes, obviously we played Aerodrome, right? That was awesome.
Of course, we had to
do that again. But the one aviation game that really stood out to me was a game called Wood and Canvas.
Yep,
was a hex-based World War I game that I had seen it at other conventions previously and kind of looked at it and was not really my thing in typical Steve fashion, right? It looks too in depth.
Too hex encounter-y.
Yeah,
why would we play hexes and miniatures?
But stopped because I had a friend playing it, and oh man, it looks super fun. I think we got to have him on the podcast. There's also a World War II version of it, called Kamikaze. And it's a Pacific World War II version of the same hex game, but the way the planes fly are really neat. There's no pre-plotting. There's some cool rules for the radial engine turning and plane specific things, but it's not super duper crunchy. Everybody was flying right around that 4 plane per person size. So it was a really big game. And you can fly more than one plane manageably. But if you're ever at a convention and see Wood and Canvas, 100%, I would stop and play a game.
Yeah, that's cool. That one looked good. There's a couple others that we're going to have on the podcast, so we won't talk too much about them. But there were a couple modern games that were out there. There were, of course, lots of people playing Check Your Six. Some of the various Check Your Six aficionados came by and took a look at some of our airplanes. So I got to have a really good chance to talk to them. For us, I guess I'll put out all the thank yous now. Huge thank you, of course, to the Historicon staff. Scott Landis, everybody that treats us so well, getting there and getting in. Jeff Kimmel for all the vendor hall stuff. People may wonder why the heck you in the vendor hall. Well, it's the place that makes the most sense, I guess, for us. And we were selling little airplanes this year. But guys like Kat and Russ that are doing social media stuff, roaming around, trying to get the story of Historicon told. Thanks to all of y'all. You were great. You were awesome. As always, they took great care of us. And I got to say it, thanks to all the customers. We sold out of jets by Friday night. So I think I had 2 boxes or 2 packages left Friday night that someone said, hey, I'm going to come back in the morning for these. And sure enough, they did. They came back bottom first thing Saturday. So I consider it sold Friday night. So thanks to everyone who bought Lead Pursuit, Squadron Commander, resin models. It was funny to have that discussion with a lot of people. Steve, you and I have talked about it, where they're like, oh, what scale are these? They seem pretty big. 1/200th. And they look at how they're painted up. They look at the painted A6s, the painted F4s, like, ooh, that's really fancy. That looks really good. So I think there are several people that we kind of convinced 1/200th for the painting might be the sweet spot, not necessarily for putting them on hexes or whatever. But it was great because we got to talk to the I-94 guys. They were there, talk to them about, obviously all their metal castings they have, and talk to a lot of them about painting that stuff up. So it was a great convention. I think if I had one regret, it was not cloning both of us. We needed 4 people, not 2, to do this event and to be able to have fun and do things. So I apologize to everyone who came over to the booth. And we were busy and we were either running a demo game, streaming, and you wanted to ask about airplanes. We needed more people for Historicon. But it was cool. How overall did you enjoy running the streaming booth there in the vendor hall again?
I like the vendor hall. I think it gives us good traffic through it. As far as doing demo games, right? We certainly picked up a couple people that had never played Blood Red Skies before, just because we were kind of in the vendor hall. They were walking through, got some demo games, right? So it's a good way for us to do demo games for people that if we were kind of tucked away in another room somewhere, if they wouldn't have been happening to play a game in that room, they wouldn't have seen us.
Exactly. They would have had to come find us,
Yeah, being in the vendor hall, I would say it's pretty safe to say just about everybody goes through the vendor hall, right? So it gives them a chance to see more of the games that we put on.
Yeah, and it was great because we were right next door to your hobby place. Warlord Games was there with your hobby place. So John Russell and Colin and everyone was there. Jay was there. All the guys that were there running the Warlord Games part of that, they could easily say, oh, yeah, Blood Red Skies, those weirdos over there at Lead Pursuit, they'll give you a demo game. And it kind of freed them up from having to do that. And then obviously, with your hobby place having all the Warlord game stuff, we didn't have to bring a lot with us. They could sell that. We could concentrate on selling little tiny resin jet fighters.
Yeah, the Conflict 47 stuff, man, that looks cool, doesn't it, Doug? I mean,
it does. I'll be honest, I have zero desire to start another game, but it looks cool and it looks better. So I will say this: I've always been a detractor of the aesthetic of the previous K-47 models, and I really did not like them. I did not like the sculpts. I did not like the way it looked. I was much more of a Dust 1947 fan, but Warlord is bringing their A game. There's some things that look really impressive with the new sculpts and the new resin miniatures and the new plastic. So I think it's going to be good. I have yet to play it. I know there's some people that are playing it here in Huntsville. The Bolt Action crowd has also kind of adopted K-47. So we'll see, how it plays out here. But that certainly looked like a lot of fun.
I do actually, since this is a safe space, have to make a confession also. Having to do with Colin from Warlord. So I did sit down and finally did a demo and played through a turn of black powder using American War for Independence rank and file troops. So
Grognard.
I do have to confess.
Grognard. Betrayed by my own team. Now, it was good to have Colin there, obviously, because he was doing demo games, but it's a great time to, in the lulls or when the vendor hall closes and we have some time to talk to Warlord staff and to talk to Warlord UK staff at the, leadership level about where things are going, what the company's doing, what the plans are. And, while there was no groundbreaking secrets that were given out to us, it was just a great chance to sit down and compare notes and talk about things that we do, things that are important to us in the U.S. gaming wise, that are different than the UK scene. And so it's always good for Colin to come over and see people, buying our resin airplanes. I think at one time I looked at him and said, "This all could have been yours." But we all had a couple good laughs about that. And they've been super supportive of everything that we've done. So that I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. Are we going to get into talking about these missile games of Blood Red Skies here or what, man? I mean, they were pretty wild.
So they were, wild. The great thing is Beyond McGalley, the fan-based Vietnam post-Korea rules has really seemed to take off. People are interested in it. People have heard about it. I was talking to Roger Garish this morning, and I was joking about how I name dropped him purposely every time, so people knew that this was not Doug Glover's good idea. This was Roger Garish and Doug Glover in small letters. Good idea. And, talking about how we developed the game over several years. But the games are fun. I mean, we did 3 games. We did Rolling Thunder, Arab Israeli, and an Arab Israeli 1969 and a Linebacker 1972. And from where I was running the games, everybody seemed to have a good time. All 3 games played out very differently, which was good because that was always my concern, was that it wouldn't just be rinse, repeat, whatever era you were playing. They played differently. People had different tactics. And I guess for me, as one of the co-designers of the add-ons, it played out thematically again. So it was kind of what we saw it fall in. We'd made some more tweaks, some tweaks to the air to ground rules, some tweaks to just the wording of some rules. But it played out, wonderfully. I mean, what did you see, at least, thinking first of all, the first Rolling Thunder game with the F-105s going in and beating up the target area, beating up the bridge?
I loved all the jet games. And I love the way the rules played. I love the tweaking that has been done to the missiles, and I love the crazy stuff. Not really crazy stuff, but just like the little intricacies with the ground attack stuff, like in that Rolling Thunder game, where I think they did kill the bridge in that game. What was
or
something?
The target was it was a Sam Park, and one of the guys got bagged. So yeah, they did destroy it, but one guy got bagged by the anti-aircraft
but
guns.
There was a lot of the way the scenario was set up, and I'm not sure if that's on our website that people could download the scenario or whatever. It seemed like there was a lot of action from both sides, and also sort of, I guess, what you would call like NPC action with like the flak shooting. It just seemed like it was like a very dynamic sort of scenario. I really, really thought it was entertaining to watch for sure.
Yeah, and it's pretty similar to the previous previous linebacker scenario we ran, with just some rules tweaks, but the scenario itself was the same. So yeah, that's something that's not on the website yet. I've been remiss. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, but that scenario will go up with the rest of the cards and everything, and the rest of the update to take everything through what we ran at Historicon this year. But I really enjoyed that. Go ahead.
It looked like a fun game to GM, and I'm not sure if it was the Rolling Thunder one or one of the other ones. It kind of reminded me of when I played like the Sky Fortress in the AI game. Like it seemed like even as a GM, you could really have fun with that rolling. Like you seemed like you were rolling a lot of dice in that game, even though you weren't
Yeah,
playing.
that was in the linebacker one. So in linebacker, I was shooting SAMs at people, shooting AAA. So things that the other side could have done, I just opted to do as the GM and do it fairly impartially. But yeah, that one was a really fun scenario. The Rolling Thunder one, I thought that scenario was good. And as advertised, not a whole lot of damage was done to the bridge. Lots of bombs were dropped. Not a lot of damage was done. But all the scenarios were fun. The Egypt pure air to air scenario with a bunch of MiGs and F4s and A4s all swirling up. That was, I thought that was a great scenario, specifically because it was just basic blood red skies dogfighting with missiles slapped on top of that to make it interesting for some of the aircraft. So that was kind of a fun one for me to run because I didn't have to do a whole lot. Once I got everyone started, I could kind of step back and let them do the dogfights. What else did you see?
We played a game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. And we did. I forgot about
that. Hasn't happened for like, I don't know, since probably the first Mississippi convention where you and I actually sat down and played a game against each other, right?
Yeah.
So that was actually cool. We got to play a little dogfight. That was neat.
Yep. We kept getting interrupted by people we had to do demo games for, but that's okay. It was just kind of funny that we didn't get a chance to finish our game, but that's all right. That's what happens when you're the demo game guy. You got to be ready to clear the table, reset, and get people in there pushing the models, learning the game. And it seemed to me like everybody picked up Blood Red Skies fairly quickly. I always joke about that it's going to take me longer to talk about advantage stands and advantage than anything else in the game, but that's the core of it. Once people grasp that concept, they've got everything else, and they may flub the rolls once or twice, or they may forget what you add to your defense, but after a couple of rounds of it, everybody really gets it. All right, let's talk about things we saw in the vendor hall before we talk about a couple more games. Did you see anything that really struck you as the must-buy, needed to get kind of thing? I know there was a lot of vendors there this year, but I noticed I went home with more stuff than you, so it didn't work out well for me.
Honestly, you were kind of making me sick with the stuff you were buying. I don't even know if I could associate with
man,
you.
Hex Encounter games, that's history. That's nostalgia. Just, they're not going to burn your hands. You can touch them, man.
I have always been drawn to, I believe the game is called CAV, C-A-V. It's like a mech game. Yeah. And the reason I've been drawn to it is because I feel like every convention we go to, we get like a mech in the swag bag from them. So I finally sat down and did a demo of that. That was, it was really cool. Played really neat. Seemed to play pretty quick, pretty good list building, component to it that I really enjoyed.
The Cav crowd's going to be right next to us at NashCon, so I'm going to go over and talk to them again and see them. It's always good to hang out with that crowd as they play stuff and host their games. For me, I didn't see a whole lot of miniature games that I had to play, that I had to kind of be a part of. There were a lot of miniatures I saw that I liked, though. And that's always my problem. And I was pretty good and managed not to buy cases and cases of miniatures. But this year, the interesting thing, and I know a couple guys like Russ Gifford and some other people talked about it, what was really funny was how many Hex Encounter games were in the vendor hall. Now, I think part of that is because they were hosting the resurgence of SPI and some of the other Hex Encounter games. They were still doing, kind of a 50th anniversary thing for a lot of that. So the vendors were like, crap, there's going to be Hex Encounter guys here at Historicon. Let's bring a bunch of their stuff. So that's where I picked up my copy of War of the Ring and a couple other things that I had to be the super grognard and buy. But dude, it's a good deal. It's stuff I couldn't get for less than, $150 or more. And I got my own copy. So But what else? Do you see anything hobby wise, or any tools, any airbrushes, anything else that
I
really interested
really
you?
wasn't looking for stuff like that. There was a ton of terrain. I felt like there was just like
That was my
tons
problem.
of terrain this year.
If I was going to pick at the vendor hall, and not like they have any control over this, there was a ton of terrain. And in my mind, it was almost like too much terrain. I got tired of looking at terrain as I walked around. Seemed like there were 10 times more terrain vendors than there used to be, but I know that's an exaggeration. There was a ton of terrain.
I'm not like really picking on the terrain, right? Like a lot of it was really cool.
It's
like
beautiful.
There was some really cool shit. But man, I felt like it was just kind of like overwhelming with terrain.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't have any need for that right now. Right. But I mean, a lot of it was cool. It was just not stuff that I really need. So I wasn't really looking.
Well, I think the funny thing is there was even more people this year that had their own 3D printed stuff. Obviously us, we had the stuff that Phalanx has printed for us. There were a ton of people selling their own games with their own 3D printed figures. We saw obviously the one that was, and I'm going to get it wrong, it was bears, right?
It was bears. They were like toys
the
that
non-violent
came away
bears
or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was cool.
It was cool
stuff.
I liked the game.
For
I just
sure.
had to laugh. It was one of those where people have done so much artistry and so much detail on it. It's just impressive. So there was that. And, obviously a lot of the returning vendors that have had 3D print stuff were there. The vendor hall for me, other than the Hex Encounter games, I managed to dodge buying anything new miniatures based, which was surprising for me. Usually I fall into that. Although I did roll past some of the same vendors, look at the same very expensive old nostalgic miniatures and go, nope, not paying that much money for a chunk of lead. So yeah. Then there was always Wally's Basement. I mean, everyone can see on Facebook what we did and can go laugh at us being morons. But overall, what was your thought on Wally's Basement since we got to actually walk through it?
Man, I don't really know how I feel about Wally's Basement. I feel like I think I just don't really understand it, right? Like I'm not a real big into flea market.
You're not a flea
thing.
market kind of guy.
You're not. People line up for it like crazy. I mean, like it's kind of nuts, but I don't ever see anything to me that I like really have to have. Now, again, if I was looking for nostalgic stuff or like specific out of production things, right? There's a lot of that there. It's probably more just a factor of me not knowing what I'm looking at than
and having no need. I mean, like if you're an old Hammer player who plays like second edition Warhammer 40K, there's a lot of old figures there and people selling entire armies that are no longer usable in Warhammer 40K, but it would be great if you're playing an old edition. There's people doing that for a lot of different games.
Tons of old Flames of War stuff that's out of production that I'm sure if you play Flames of War, you'd be like all over that stuff.
You can find that by the bin. I mean, it's both depressing to me to see how cheaply it's sold for because you're like, oh man, someone put hours of effort into painting these things. But that's just how the resale hobby is when it comes to miniatures and stuff like that. So I have a love-hate relationship with Wally's Basement. Every once in a while, I'll walk in and find something cool. Like when we jokingly picked up our Grognard items and I picked up a copy of C3I magazine. I like C3I magazine. It was a great publication. Sad to see it go, obviously, with the things that have happened this past year. But be able to pick up a copy of that specifically with an article I wanted, I kind of liked that. But like you say, a lot of the stuff I was looking at, I would looked at for nostalgia, not buying it to put it on my shelf and play it tomorrow. It was put it on my shelf and be able to stare at it and go, oh yeah, I finally got a copy of that game. I'm never going to play it, but I got a copy.
Yeah, I mean, and just like the random stuff, I don't really understand. Like, I don't need a $2 VHS copy of Bridges of Madison County, right? Like,
you never know.
I really need,
that might be your key to gaming nirvana. Is getting the $2 VHS copy to watch on your VHS in your hobby space that's connected to probably a big projection TV, not even a LCD. It's probably a big projection, rear projection TV. Oh God, yeah, Grognards. Okay. Speaking of grognards, we're not going to talk a lot about them, but I'm going to pick on them just because I can. There were a lot of other podcasts there. Didn't get as much time to talk to him as we wanted. Mark's Game Room was there, Little Wars TV. Obviously, we kind of passed in the night with some of these guys, said hi. Didn't get a chance to sit down and kind of compare notes about a lot of stuff. But if you haven't seen their Historicon coverage, please go out and watch it. There's a lot of good coverages of the tables, the kind of thing we're not going to talk about. There's video coverage of a lot of the games and interviews with the game masters. So a lot of cool things to get to do. Okay, let's talk about the 700-pound gorilla, also known as the Games Workshop tournaments. So Historicon had a little bit of a flail with this. And I'll say good on your hobby place and good on Historicon for extending the olive branch and hosting a Warhammer 40K tournament. Wow, the flame commentary on Facebook. Did you see that commentary?
Dude, what is the deal with Historicon people, honestly? I mean, if it's not about hotel rooms, if it's not about elevators not working, if it's not about 40K, just chill out.
This is why, and in our last episode, Don Ayers and I debated this. This is why, to me, grognards aren't just old gamers, aren't just detail-oriented gamers. They must be grumbling gamers. They must find something to bitch and complain about, even if it has helped fund the event they are at. So I just had to laugh that it was great to I thought it was great to have the 40K players there. For us as streamers, it was awesome to have the 40K streaming team there and sit there and to talk to those guys, to compare notes with them, see how they did things versus how we did, see some of the common struggles over internet access and things like that. But big picture, miniatures wargaming is miniatures wargaming. And even in its inception, there were so many blurred lines. I mean, I was just looking at rules today from, yes, TSR, the company that brought you Dungeons and Dragons, that had fantasy miniatures rules and had ancients miniatures rules, both written by none other than Gary Gygax himself, the father of D&D. So you're like, come on, back in the 70s, we didn't care. We'd play ancients and Caesar and Alexander, and then we'd make it skeletons and freaking Egyptian remummified pharaohs next. There was not this baggage, and the one quote of, you might as well remove the H from HMGS. Oh, geez. Give me a break, dude.
Now, I have seen so many times, and to me, it's like those darn kids, right? Like, that Warhammer crowd, blah, 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 blah. So me and Pat were playing our bolt action game, like, in the Warhammer crowd, right? Like, yeah. right where the bolt action tournament was going on, kind of like in the middle of the Warhammer. And if I would not have known that it was like a different event or like a different game, it would have been like, oh, I'm just at Historicon, right? It's like there was nothing different about it whatsoever.
There is. There's one thing that would have given it away. Instead of smelling like Asper Cream and Broken Dreams, it smells like body odor in the 40K section.
I guess.
Body odor and Doritos. Yeah. But gamers of all ages and types have their odoriferous ways.
It's tough it was tough to get the Dorito odor over the pounding of Bengay from everybody's arthritis issues that they're trying to take care of over the weekend. But yeah, I mean, come on, guys.
Gamers are gamers. That's the thing. And where it really cracked me up is, and I think I talked about it last episode with Don, one grog walks past and sees the models, obviously thinks, oh, those are really cool models, realizes there's a game kind of attached to it and goes, hey, that game, does it have a saving throw? And my question is, who the fuck cares? How about let's talk about the more important things is, hey, tell me about the rules. Hey, tell me how you guys simulate altitude. What do you guys do about airspeed? And, also their one concern was, is there a single roll or is it a roll and a reaction roll? And the fact that someone else gets to roll dice, it's not just one roll, game breaker for that guy. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. Yep. Everybody has the mechanics they like. But when you sit there and go, oh yeah, that game has a saving throw, that's a lazy designer. No, literally like 50 fucking % of the games out there, you roll to do something and the other side rolls to save against you doing something. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot that whole conversation happened. And I remember when that happened, all it made me think was like, man, thank God I'm just like a gaming idiot because I don't even remember any rules. So like, I wouldn't know if there's a saving throw, a not saving throw. Just let's play the freaking game. Let's go.
Just play the game. Well, and my attitude is that there's games out there for every type of play style, every type of mechanic you want to do. There's a game out there for you. And if there isn't, then just take someone else's rules and twist it to be whatever you want. But there's a play style out there. Why spend all your time bashing everyone else's? The answer should be, oh, that's not for me. Oh, that has a saving throw. I like stuff condensed. I like one roll. Yeah, not my kind of game. But you don't have to say, oh, that game has a saving throw. That's a lazy designer. Why? Why does it have to be the negative side? That's always what I say. So whatever. But that's Historicon. That's any gaming convention anyway. I mean, if we'd been there, it would have been, if we'd been at Adepticon, it'd be, you know, why we like War Machine over Warhammer 40K or whatever. You know, there would have been that same argument. But it was funny, really funny to me. Everybody's attitude about Games Workshop, that varies so much. You know, some of us grew up with Games Workshop doing fantasy figures and doing some historical figures and kind of just being the UK backbone of the miniatures industry. Other people, all they know of GW is the modern 40K era. And some people, all they know is the really expensive plastic 40K era. People are like, yeah, you know, those money grubbing GW guys. I'm like, pretty much anyone who's in business here is money grubbing. I would like money to come into my business. I would like to sell you my resin for a profit for more than it cost me to make. If that makes me a money grubbing individual, yes, I am, because I would like to take those profits and buy more resin miniatures to sell to you. Yeah. So it's just funny. People have to find something negative to say about anything.
Dude, I one of the things I got most a kick out of were the people that were like, if you let GW into your convention, they're gonna get their tentacles all into everything. Like, they're just playing a game, dude. They're not trying to take over the whole freaking.
And GW doesn't handle most of that.
It's always associated with it whatsoever. Right?
Yeah, it's always independent tournament organizers. It's not GW running the tournament. Yes, GW sends prize support, blah, 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 whatever, habitual relationships, all that other happy horse shit. But it's independent tournament organizers that are doing that generally on their own dime. GW ain't paying them to go there. And they're trying to turn a profit through, or at least break even through ticket sales and stuff like that. So. Yeah, whatever. You know, there's going to be drama. We've seen it before, whether it's drama about where the hotel rooms are, where the elevators are. My favorite was, don't use the elevator unless you're a game master. But if I'm a game player who's in a walker, you know, I'm going to use the goddamn elevator. It's not just for game masters. But yeah, there's always people complaining about something. But that's Grognards. That's not the vast majority of Historicon people, I gotta say. And every time I bag on Grognards at Historicon, I have to remind myself, say good things about all the people that you shared tables with, that you rolled dice with, that were a hell of a lot of fun, that the majority of them played cross genre. I mean, there's guys we talked to that were playing in the Ancients that also played Crimson Skies, that played, you know, Vietnam Jets, so they were all over the page when it came to what people had played. But that's because we're gamers and we're not like stuck in one genre.
I feel like maybe somebody needs to sponsor like cotillion classes for gamers. That's just like, this is how you like act when you like go.
This is how you should act at a convention. This is how to point your pinky as you're drinking your coffee. Yeah. It's so funny. And I'll be honest, the reason I wear my Grognard Rendition Team shirt, or the reason I bring up some of the things I do when I'm talking to people, is to just start the discussion and to say, no, I have nothing against older gamers. I have nothing against detail people, rivet counters. I have nothing against people that want, you know, super crunchy games. No, I have something against grognards, people that are going to bitch and complain about nothing for no reason. So whatever, makes us a bunch of outliers. All right. Well, that's enough about Historicon. Anything just to wrap up? Anything else you saw that you wanted to talk about? Yeah,
always covered it pretty good.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. Thanks again to the team. Thanks to all of our customers. That was a super successful weekend for us. I'm always glad to sell out of stuff. So hopefully we'll keep carrying on the momentum. And then speaking of momentum, you went right from that the next weekend down to Pax River. Tell us a little bit about what the Pax River convention was like.
So I don't know if I call it a convention. I think I'd call it more like a meetup, right? Like just like a game day, right? So we did it before a couple of years ago where we just kind of met up at the Pax River Museum, set up some tables and played some games, right? That was cool. I was down there for some other stuff anyway in the area, so it was super easy for me to swing over there and do that little meetup with Joe Nevis.
Yes.
Last name's Nevis, I think, who kind of helps run stuff at the museum. And he was at Historicon. He's at some of our events and everything. But he is, if you're in that area of Maryland, he is kind of building a little gaming group down there. So maybe, if you're into playing games and in that area, maybe look up Joe Nevis on social media, or you could actually reach out to the museum directly and they can get you in contact with them. But we played a couple different games. There was some bolt action going on again. So like a double dose of bolt action I had in 2 weeks there, which was kind of crazy. I was running some of the same scenarios of Blood Red Skies, Beyond Megali stuff. That was cool. As far as aerial games, one of our listeners has been writing a game called Stardust for several years now, and she told me basically that it's pretty much done. It's gone through several revisions. Their website is Sublight Games, and you can read all about it on there. You can look stuff up. Couple cool things about it. It's like a squadron level space combat game, which really appeals to me. I really, really like spaceships, and I really, really want to like a space combat game. But every single space combat game I sit down and play, it's like you have one ship, and you have to balance the deflector shield with the photons and the reactors. It's like my brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
This was... I guess I would kind of describe it as definitely takes inspiration from X-Wing with some of the mechanics. Definitely takes inspiration clearly from Blood Red Skies with some of the mechanics. It's on hexes, so the movement seems really simple because it's on hexes. As far as this being, I guess technically you would call this a homebrew game, right? Because she's kind of like worked on it herself and made it herself. Yeah. But it's pretty freaking good. And I would highly suggest going over to Sublight Games or looking up Sublight Games on Discord. The way the ships fly, where I believe the correct term for space games is called Newtonian.
Yeah, it's Newtonian games, physics, right? Instead of cinematic. Yeah. Yes.
So it's cool because they fly like airplanes for the most part. But once you get into like a certain speed band, then they start having that Newtonian physics where you can where your ship is going one way, but the nose is pointing another direction and you can shoot, but you have to like sort of intentionally do that, which I think is a really neat mechanic. The bases have gone through several revisions and are really good. The other really neat thing about this is she is making it intentionally for people to be able to print this stuff at home, right? So there's going to be a production thing, but the bases you're going to be able to print at home. All the cards and the paper products and the terrain, and it's really, really neat. From the last time I saw it, which was the last time we were at Pax River, it has undergone a tremendous amount of changes. I really, really enjoyed it. And I know you've played it before too, so I'm sure you could kind of chime in with something here.
Yeah, I haven't played the latest revision. I'm supposed to jump on Tabletop Sim and go through the latest revision. But I played it. Was it 2 years ago? Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the Newtonian physics part of it, and it wasn't too much bookkeeping for that. So that's the nice thing is it was super straightforward, and an enjoyable game. And I think kind of like you say. When I play a space fighter game, I want a lot of swarming aircraft around. I don't want to spend a lot of time with bookkeeping on one aircraft. And that is what tends to drive me off of a lot of games out there. Speaking of that, I got to play Squadron Commander. So, I always talk up Squadron Commander. I am not really part of the development team yet on that. Pat's kind of been doing his own thing, which is good. I got to play it. I got to try to break it, and piss Pat off by doing everything exact opposite of how he counseled me to do things. But that was another fun game. And I know we got to play that at Historicon, not down at Pax River. But there's a lot of people doing space fighter games. I saw even tonight on the spaceship design group, one guy was saying, hey, I just wrote my 5-page rule, space fighter game. If anyone wants to play it, check it out. So there's people that want X-Wing like fun with a little, I don't want to say realism, but a little bit more crunchiness without being Starfleet battles. And I'm tracking my deflectors and whatever and power and yeah.
So she's making this to be a tournament game, which I think is really cool because as far as like space games go, now that X-Wing isn't around, there's no space tournament games out there, right? And me personally, kind of what you're saying, right? Like I want final scene in Independence Day. Yeah. I don't want like a Navy game, but in space.
Yeah. Right? And I played SFB for years, and it felt like you were driving ships around with phasers and photon torpedoes, and you're just driving this big ship in a circle until you can shoot the other guy or catch him in a broadside. Which, sure, okay, maybe it matched how the Star Wars or Star Trek movies were, but it didn't match what we saw in every other, every other genre of sci-fi.
So definitely check that out. The other big takeaway for me. Is that
you sold out. You're going to talk about selling out again here.
I did. But this is something like this has been years and years and years in the making, right? I have always wanted to try Battletech, and I can never get a demo of it. Now, because it was a more low-key thing, Joe had some Battletech stuff already set up. Man, I did not realize how crunchy Battletech was, right? To me, Battletech was like, I was like, oh, sweet, mech robots. I played the Mech Warrior video games. I want to play Battletech, right?
You're like, what do you mean I have to track 13 armor on the left side and 12 structure on the right?
But it is freaking super fun. Like, I really, really like it. I also tried Alpha Strike, like a turn or two of Alpha Strike. Also super fun. So like the idea of robots, really the mechs, right? Really, really, really appealing to me. I think they're super cool. I think like ideally for me, I would want to play Battletech with like, I don't know, like 10-inch tall mechs and everybody controls one of them. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I think that'd be just amazing. Cause I don't know that I have the brain capacity to control more than one mech in Battletech. Right? Like it seems like it's a lot to do. And then Alpha Strike for, again, I guess you'd call it like a squadron type game, right? Yep. But with mech robots, like, dang, that whole, I feel like my eyes have been opened to the whole Battletech universe or Battletech series of games for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good. I've heard, I've never actually been at any of the games, but some of the guys up in Kentucky, Indiana area, they would play 28 millimeter Battletech. So it's Battletech with 28 mil scaled battle mechs. And so, I mean, that's like you're saying, 10, 12 inches tall, beautifully painted, a lot of fun to run that. So yeah, there's a variant of Battletech for whichever one you want. Kat will be so happy to hear that you've given in and played Battletech. And
I actually forgot that we were talking about that at Historicon, and it just so happened that I got to play it.
Kat's
and I got
a huge Battletech fan. And she runs Alpha Strike. Right? Yep. She runs Alpha Strike at the local game store for her. And yeah, so I see her posts on Facebook. It's kind of funny to watch what they do, but they've really been enjoying playing that.
Yeah, I really liked it. And they are going to do another one down there. So even if you follow the Air Museum on social media, Pax River, Pax River Naval Air Station Museum, I think it might be called.
Naval Air Station Test Museum. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I can never get the title right.
And honestly, if you're into airplanes and you're in that area, it's like just a cool little museum too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
really
it is.
neat. So pop in, even if you're not playing some games, but they're going to be doing a couple more game days. And it was a really fun, low-key event. Also, the day before that, I was at the World Championships of Miniature Football, which is like another tabletop gaming. Dude,
I was wondering if you're going to bring that up because Don Ayers has been ridiculing you to no end for that.
You know what,
so.
Don is just not enough of a free thinker, I think, sometimes. That's his problem. That's Don's problem. He needs to be more open with his willingness to experiment.
I think the exact quote was, let me get this right. How much money do these grown men spend on a game that is run on an electric vibrating table?
Dude, easily as much as we spend on our stupid little Civil War dudes. So.
Exactly. So I said, Pot, this is kettle, you're black. Yeah, exactly. So there's whatever the hobby is, we spend too much money. Model trains, model aircraft.
Oh, man.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, if somebody could combine like HO trains with a war game, I'm done, man. I mean, I might as well just file for divorce now because it's over.
Well, awesome. Anything else from the two weekend events that you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I think it was two awesome events. Played a couple games, did some cool demos. Just good double weekend of gaming for me. I had a ton of fun.
Yeah. I wish I could have done that, but I had other things I had to get back here and do. So, well, that's good. And once again, thanks to the staff at Historicon. Thanks to the museum down at Pax River for allowing us to have an event down there and for hosting that, and for everybody that brought games, ran games, and did stuff down there. And obviously, thanks to all the as I call them, the lead pursuit faithful. Our customers, people that show up to the events, people that are happy to just hang out by the booth and BS with us, and make us feel like we're not total weirdos that are the pariahs of the community, which we probably are. But it's always good to see everyone at Historicons and see everyone at these smaller events. And Steve, like you're so fond of me saying, I'm going to say, keep climbing for advantage.
Oh.
God, that's horrible. Horrible.
We're not flying hard?
No, we're not flying hard.
Oh, all right.
We're hardly flying.
Dude, that should actually be the sign-off. Flying hard or hardly flying.
You're either flying hard or you're hardly flying. Yeah, that's oh God, that's so disturbing. I'm going to need to have a moment alone.
Oh, shit.